Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is the Vigorelli Institute. I have been wanting to do a video on this for a while, just been, busy and also distracted. Shiny objects, jingle keys, whoop whoop whoop. Anyway, I am a writer and, I study the art of writing. There's quite a few channels that I watch. Literature Devil is one of them. Phantom Mauler, and even Nerdrotic. Anyway, one of the things that I have learned in my time is that every single genre has fantasy in it. Whether or not it is fantasy is different, okay? Romance definitely has it, usually in matters of size and proportions, behavior, things like that. You don't need to go into much detail. I think you know what I'm talking about, those of you who read that. Anyway, sci-fi is actually loaded with fantasy. Well, no kidding. Okay. It's also why in a lot of bookstores and whatnot, sci-fi and fantasy are often lumped together. Okay. And that's because, well, many subgenres of sci-fi talk about things that we have never encountered. We have no basis for it in reality. It's only, at best, speculation. Okay? Well, I'm talking about Star Trek. Yep. Well, we're not going to go into the Technobabble stuff, although it does really annoy me. I am scientifically trained. I've read the books, done the classes and experiments and all of this. And when they say cellular nuclear peptides, where I'm just going like, you're just putting words together. Make it stop. But that's Technobabble for you. So, it's written by people that don't know the sciences. They just like the big pretty words, and when people like me come across them, it's actually kind of like, of course. Alright, so, but enough of that. Let's dive into the fantasy aspects of Star Trek. Oh yes, indeed. Now, Star Trek is actually riddled with fantasy. Very obvious fantasy tropes. Okay? Hey! Thank you, sweetheart. Kids. She wants lunch. Now, I will feed her when I'm done. Relax. Okay? So, I'm going to describe a race to you. And I want you to kind of figure it out. Feel free to drop it in the comments. Okay? I will tell you, obviously, but, as you're watching, tippity-typity, okay? All right, they are really, really smart and smug. They don't purport to have emotions, but, yeah, okay. Sure, yeah, they do, okay? But they don't let them out very much. They've got really, really cool technology. They can do things that regular humans can't. No, this is not humans. They're human adjacent. And they help the humans. They're also a lot longer lived than humans. Yeah, I'm talking about Vulcans. But I'm also talking about elves. Okay? Now, the dead giveaways the pointy ears. But if you look at the way elves behave in most forms of fantasy, Tolkien, for example, other such Tolkien-adjacent properties, the elves are superior to humans in many, many ways. They're not as ingenious as humans. They're not as tenacious as humans. But the elves are very, very shadowy. They tend to disappear a lot. They tend to hide, and, we will tell you things as we believe it is necessary. We will be your friends, but we're very independent from you at the same time. Okay? Sure, we're happy to work together and be part of the same country, but you stay on your side of the fence and we'll stay on ours. Okay? Okay. That's kind of the elven mentality, and that is very, very represented in Vulcans. Okay, now their cousins, the Romulans, are largely the same way. They got the pointy ears, the smug superior attitude, yada yada yada. But they're also highly antagonistic, especially towards the humans and the Vulcans. Okay. Well, those are dark elves. Dark elves are very into hiding. They're very, very into, you step foot in our territory, you get an arrow in it. Okay? Romulans are the same way. They hide and then attack. Dark elves are exactly the same way. Their technology is also vastly different from the other elves. I.e., their magic is vastly different. It's much more based in the forest, it's much more based in shadow, whereas, yes, elven magic, when they're allied with humans, is very, very built on the forest, but it's a lot more the observable forest rather than the deep hidden forest. Okay? When you scale that over into space, you get cloaking devices and starships that are powered by black holes, okay? Shadow organizations within their nation that control the nation from behind the scenes. So layer on layer here, okay? All right, let's move on, shall we? So we've got a people that are very, very military based. They really like to fight. They're really not friendly towards humans. And they're really big on honor. Of course, talking about Klingons. Okay, they look vastly different. They're really aggressive. They like eating raw to semi-raw food. They're at home in wastelands that humans would look at and go, I cannot live there. It's like, what are you talking about? This is awesome. Okay. Then they smack them on the head and shatter their shoulder. Okay. Also, those are orcs. Yeah. Klingons have a lot of orcish tropes and traits in them. And it's very much so very reminiscent of Tolkien. Tolkien's kind of the one that created orcs, by the way, and our understanding of them. It's evolved over time, but there we are. A lot of ways they're a lot more reminiscent of the Orcai, so the super orcs, which play heavy in Lord of the Rings, not so much in The Hobbit. Regular orcs play more in Hobbit, okay? And we'll get to those guys. They're loosely unified, heavily built on a clan structure, and having you do what the war leader says. If the war leader appears to be weak, you kill him, and you become the war leader. Very, very orcish, okay? It's also the way the Klingons work. And, by the way, that would not function in reality. That's another video. So, as far as the lesser orcs go, these would be like the orcs from The Hobbit, okay? Those are a little bit more reminiscent of some of the lesser martial societies that we see in Star Trek. A lot of them coming out of Voyager, that branch of the franchise. They are a lot more loosely organized. They're a lot more belligerent. Their technology is kind of neat, but it's easily circumvented once you can predict their behavior. Just don't stand there long enough for them to hit you, basically. Okay? All right, let's move on, shall we? Okay, they're kind of short. They're bald. They're a little on the creepy side, and they're super into money. Yeah, Ferengi. One of my favorite races on with Star Trek, by the way. Big fan, mostly because I'm a capitalist. Okay. I'm also describing goblins. Okay. The Ferengi are goblins. Okay. Granted, on DS9, Kira does refer to Quark as a troll, which, technically speaking, trolls and goblins are basically the same thing, depending on when you're talking. But modern day, no, they're totally different. Pull your head out, dude. Seriously. Okay? So, goblins are all about tech. They're all about shiny things. They are all about making money and doing it in the most underhanded way possible. Amazingly, so are the Ferengi. Okay. Ferengi businessmen are notoriously untrustworthy, except for when you can. Okay. Because it's in their interests for them to be trustworthy at the time. Okay. Otherwise, they'll screw you over, and who cares? Okay? Just kind of the way they are. Very much so a goblin aesthetic. Now, goblins usually are green. They have been noted in some IPs to be yellow or orange. And the Ferengi are always kind of a orange color base thing. Okay. Alright. Also the big ears and the big nose. Just saying. Okay. Well, those are the big swaths of it. Ooh. We got another one, don't we? Alright. So they're reptilian. Very untrustworthy, highly antagonistic, and mean. Okay? And smart-ish. Okay? Well, talking about the Cardassians. They're based on Naga, or lizard people, because, well, duh. Okay? They're quasi-reptilian in the show. Now in fantasy, the reptilian people are, like, basically lizards that can walk upright and talk. Granted, that is the Gorn, so there's another species that's this way, but the Cardassians are a lot more fleshed out, okay, as a culture. From what I know about fantasy tropes, they are always kind of spreading out. They tend to come from a desert place. They don't have a lot of stuff, but if you get into a fight with them, if you win, you're going to be real bloodied. That's very much so the Cardassians. Excuse me. Yes, Cardassians. I almost said a family name. Yeah. There are even very, very obvious references in DS9 as to lizard people. They're referred to as serpents during a couple of episodes, and so forth. So, that's my big swaths on that. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, other YouTube things, and we'll talk to you later, okay guys? Bye now.